This version of Coffee with Kehoe is going to be focused on leadership in times of change. This is an important topic given the recent election cycle that is now over and the changes in the state of Washington around our governor, a new administration, new priorities, the situation with our state budget in terms of our budget gap, and some of the adjustments we're going to have to make. There's lots of change that's happening in the state. There's lots of change that we're going to have to adapt to at WATEC. And so today's Coffee with Kehoe is focused on how best leaders should adapt to those changes. The one thing that all leaders have to remember in with any change is that the need for communication. In the absence of communication, there will be a lot of fears with staff and leaders in the organization around what's going to happen to them, to their teams. So leadership has to lean in and provide very transparent communication in what they know and what the impacts will be as early as possible, and then continually check in with staff to update them on any information. You're never going to know all the information or all the impacts at the beginning, but as time goes on and you learn more and it becomes clear as to the impact on your agency or your organization, the impacts to various teams and staff, the impacts to your budget, the impacts to your investment strategy, then that communication becomes more important. The next thing I'd like to talk about, and that is important for leadership in times of change, is to refer back to your leadership values that you created for your organization, that hopefully you've talked about often and have helped guide you in your decision making and how you're moving forward strategically in your organization. Leadership values are things that you want your leaders to embody on a daily basis that really are your brand and how you carry yourself, how you show up with customers, and how you show up for your employees. So when we're talking about a change in governor, a change in administration, budget challenges, challenges to our investment strategy, et cetera, that can put a lot of fear in staff. And as leaders, it's really important that we not only communicate, but we also set the example of strength and how we want to really move the organization forward. We can never underestimate the importance of our leadership. It's not just the CIO or the executive team. It's everyone in the organization who has a sphere of influence and is leading someone or something as a real importance to moving the agency forward with the change. The other one to remember is leave a legacy. Commit yourself to leave the organization in a better place than you found it. During times of change, especially when we're talking about major changes at top levels of government or in any organization, there's always going to be an uncertainty as to, well, are the things that we're working on now going to carry forward? And what's going to happen to our organization? And, those will never be fully known until the new leadership gets in place and you understand the priorities and you understand your budget situation. But the things that you have moving forward that are already in place, you've got to continue to try to move forward, continue to build that foundation, things that are very important to the state or to your organization. Try to continue to move those forward so that you do leave that legacy, and don't stop. Don't stop unless you have to. Keep that foundation building, keep that legacy moving forward. Also important is to, in times of change like this, is to invest and care for your staff. What we're doing here at WATEC is because these changes can be so uncertain and have an impact that we just don't know. We have to check in, as I said, and communicate with staff on a regular basis. But we also need to check in on them one-on-one. We don't know the impacts in terms of how everyone is handling the election results. It varies from person to person. And giving staff time and space to talk about their feelings and how that's impacting them is really important, because it's not the same for every staff. So having those one-on-one meetings, giving them time to really talk about where they're at, and then also refocusing them on where they need to keep moving forward and their priorities, and then their importance of what they do on a daily basis. So investing in caring for staff is really important in times of change. Respecting others, really important leadership value, not just for leaders to respect other leaders, but in the organization, ensuring that there's respect that's independent of any position or level in the organization, and that we recognize people for their good work, and that we recognize their value and we appreciate what they do. This is really important, especially when we're talking about budget situations. We're never in a position where we want to assume that anything in the organization is going to get cut or any team is going to be drastically impacted. And we want to put those fears to rest early and often. Also, pursuing excellence is really important in times of change. Just because you're facing change or you're facing potential budget cuts or budget impacts, you still have to pursue excellence in your statutory responsibilities of the services you provide. And focusing on that, really emphasizing that as a leader is really important. So a really important leadership value is to support and encourage colleagues and staff. People are at all levels of the organization need to be encouraged in these times of change. So again, checking in, communicating, having regular staff meetings, one-on-ones, and then supporting other teams outside of your own team is important. Reaching across divisions, ensuring that the entire agency or organization is successful, and not just focusing on your team. So our approach in times of change is to lean in more to the strategic mindset value, leadership value. Look at our IT enterprise strategic plan and the 4 goals that are around that: customer experience, data, innovation, and workforce, and the pillars of digital trust and equity and governance. And keep those front and center, align our initiatives and projects that are in flight to those, prioritize those efforts where we can, and rally the staff around continuing to move forward in those areas. And then the last leadership value I'll talk about, I think, is very important. These are all important, but probably as a leader, this is the most important. If you're not leading with confidence and composure during times of change, then that's going to hurt your agency. It's going to create fear in your organization. These types of changes can really cause a lot of angst and stress and anxiety with leadership. But as much as possible, we have to lead with confidence and composure, create a sense of calmness in our agency and our staff, address issues, be as transparent as possible, resolve issues quickly, and really demonstrate confidence in your team and your colleagues. Thank you for watching Coffee with Kehoe, December 2024, on this really important topic about leading in times of change. I hope this will be beneficial to all leaders, and as we work together to move forward in this time of change for the state of Washington that we're embracing, and that we'll not only get through, but we'll be better for. Thank you.